Bitcoin back into the high 50,000s. Will this be the second week of the last 21 that it closes below 60,000? Who knows? Let's dive into the price action analysis, see if I can spin some logic that might help me answer that question. And if you like this kind of price action analysis, then please like and subscribe. That makes your life easier because I do it every day and you'll get a notification. Okay, right, so that's the weekly covered. 2.5 hours to go, mid 58. Quite the sell-off when you reference where CME closed on Friday evening at practically 63,000. You know, that's $4,500. That's quite the sell-off on the weekend. That's pretty significant volatility and indeed to the downside. So on that note, I'm going to dive into the daily time frame, and you can see the daily is trying its darndest to hang on to this area, but I'll draw it on as a line of support, which Bitcoin certainly had troubles breaking above, i.e. support resistance line. It was resistance back over here. Will it remain as support or prove to be support for a daily closure in 2.5 hours time? Now that is an area, of course, it's always an area, but it's basically coming in not far from where Bitcoin is now. Just call it 58,000, but maybe about 58,250, something like that, as Bitcoin moves down a bit lower as I speak. Oh dear. You've got to love the symmetry of this move up, double top, move down. You've got to love that. And it was WD Gann who, back in the early part of the 20th century, was out trading everyone. And one of his wise words or wise observations was you should never ignore a double top. And indeed that became the case here when Bitcoin took this rather red day on Friday. Since then there's been more of a sell-off. So that's the daily. Now momentum, my predefined momentum, looks like it's going to cross below the zero line and therefore shift to the downside. And it will do that. I'm not sure how correct this reading is, but basically, let me just zoom in the MACD a wee bit. Yeah, it's a fair way away from the zero line at the moment. Obviously, Bitcoin hasn't closed this daily candle yet. There's still 2.5 hours to go. Funny things have happened. But where the MACD is at the moment, it does need to bounce significantly, or the price needs to bounce significantly to not cross below the zero line. And as you can see, it's going to continue falling for quite some price above where Bitcoin is at the moment. So I'd say momentum is securely down on the daily, depending on where today closes. The weekly's still clear. The weekly's still very far away from the zero line. I'm not really worried about the nature of the bull run, as in if it's going to remain as such. And also when you look at the obvious pullback area, or the obvious area for sort of historically for price to gravitate to, having been rejected at the all-time high, in and around the previous all-time high, I think with these kind of shoulders here, and that did indeed prove to be where Bitcoin wicked down to, how many weeks ago? Was it 4 weeks ago? Basically the beginning of July. So I feel like that was the obvious target, and I'd be surprised to see Bitcoin break down below there. I don't think it would be impossible to have price moving lower, and 50,000 is an obvious target because it's a nice round number, but I still feel that the low of this consolidation period has already been printed. However, my feelings are irrelevant, and you should just do what the price action tells you to. There is no point in thinking a chart is going to behave in the way you think it is, because you'll just get frustrated and probably make the wrong decisions. And so that's why just be guided by the price action and nothing else. Now, where was I? Daily, yeah. So support resistance line for now is intact as support. And you can just see this 4-hour downtrend here is very, very nicely intact. And indeed, momentum is still way down, way down. Now, interestingly, the MACD will turn back up on the 4-hour with 4-hour closure back above sort of 59.4, which is about $1,000 away from current price action, and corresponds to, yeah, basically these two highs over here. That was a significant, that was indeed a double top, but didn't prove to follow through with more downside. I think I talked about it at the time. So yes, if Bitcoin can just make a bit more of a move to the upside from its current position and not lose the current low at 57, I think it is, then the 4-hour MACD will have a chance to at least turn up. What happens from there? Well, no one knows, but I think that's a significant first target for Bitcoin to even have a slim chance of disrupting this 4-hour downtrend. Have I got anything else to say? I mean, I've got a lot to say, but do I need to cover anything else in this video? Well, I could be a if I was going to be sort of singing a doomsday hymn at this point, I think I would suggest that on this daily time frame, I think if Bitcoin starts to close dailies, I think if Bitcoin closes a daily below 58, then it's very likely to make a move down to around 56. That's what I would say. And then, and then you look at it at low 50s, unless there was some serious support found. Yeah, so I think that's sort of worst case scenario for Bitcoin. I think, well, probably worst case scenario is 50,000, but I still think that's less likely. I think that's less likely as things stand. But Bitcoin is not making life easy for itself at the moment. There continues to be one giant consolidation, and it's easy to lose sight of that, particularly when most people, like me, I do a video every day, right? So we do tend to focus on the more short-term price action analysis, and you do have to have an eye on the greater trend. And the greater trend right now is one of consolidation. It's not one of more upside or more downside. The greater trend, the lower time frame trend at the moment, is all downside. But the greater trend is not a trend. It's a consolidation period. Now, will that go on for as long as this one? Whatever it was, 30 weeks? Well, I didn't expect this one to go on for 21 weeks. But it certainly is there. And as we approach, at the beginning of August, if August proves to be not a very volatile month, then potentially, this 53,000 wick won't be broken. But who knows? All right, that's 9.5 minutes of me wittering on. Hope you've enjoyed the video. And give us a thumbs up, like, subscribe and share if you have. And I'll see you tomorrow. We'll see where Bybit has closed its weekly. I think there may be all sorts of gaps occurring on CME's chart. Take care. See you tomorrow.